Dame Dash had a interesting thing that he said about Jay once that it always stuck with me. Dame was like, Jay is the slave that masters use to instill hope in all the other slaves in the field. And so they pick one slave out of the field, bring him in the house and say, look, if you work as hard as you can, you could be like this guy. And really, this is what Dame said. And he was like, and really, you never have the opportunity to be like this guy. This is just the guy that they give you just enough hope to keep working hard for them. Now, you could become a billionaire a couple different ways. And I'm going to talk about, I got Jay-Z responded. Jay-Z just responded about the things about the paternity test for his son. So we're going for his alleged 31, not his son, but alleged 31-year-old son. I think he's 31 or something like that, 32, whatever it is. So I'm going to get to that in a second. But, you know, Dame made that point, and that always stuck with me. Like, they always going to have one slave that looks like he's doing something that everybody could do because he's a slave too, and he made it. And somebody else said it. They were like, you either become a billionaire one of two ways, right? Which is partnership or ownership. And all the black billionaires become billionaires out of partnership first. And the minute that they actually try to own something is when it becomes a problem. As we could see with Diddy. Diddy tried to own his liquor company, and we seen his little dirty secrets came out after. Right? Which he's been doing for 20 years, 30 years. And then it all comes out after he tries to get ownership of the liquor company and get away from Ciroc, right? And try to own Diageo or own DeLeon. So, like, partnership versus ownership. You don't see no black billionaires, not that many. I think it's one from ownership. But you don't. So Dame made a point that, you know, Jay is here to make all of us feel like we could possibly do it. But really, and this is Dame's word. Dame's was like, but really the things that he had to do and the people that he had to screw over and the people that he had to step on and the yeses he had to say to master in order for him to get to that position is not something you would be willing to do. So it's not realistic for you. It's only realistic for somebody that's willing to go that far and step on that many people. And this is why I have the conversation with you guys. Is it possible to be a moral billionaire? We did the calculation on this, right? And I was looking at it like we broke down, like, how many seconds is there in a day, right? And we was in my office. I was with my employees. We was breaking it down. How many seconds are there in a day? And I can't remember the number, but when we calculated everything out, let me see. I'm going to pull it up now. 86,400 seconds in one day. So if I made for every second, if I made $1 for every second of every day, every year, in 1 year, how many dollars would I have? Right? And we did that calculation, and it was like something like $30 million. So for 86,400 seconds in a day, we multiply that by 365 days, and it comes out to 31,536,000. So if I made $1 for every second of every day for an entire year, I only make $31 million. And I say only relatively to the amount of time that is, right? So what does that mean? That means to become a billionaire, I have to leverage other people's time because people can't work 24/7. Nobody can. You can't make that money off of your own efforts. So if I only can make $31 million off of 24/7 work, how many people would I need to get to $1 billion if they only work in a third of that, which is 8 hours a day? And it was only, so there's a John D. Rockefeller quote. John D. Rockefeller, obviously one of the people that his family, they say is one of the families that run the world, right? And which is kind of ironic that Jay's company is Rockefeller and John D. Rockefeller. His quote is, I would rather earn 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own efforts. And I believe that that's how all billionaires think. You know, they'll call it collaboration, but I call it leveraging other people's time and other people's effort. You know, so that's a Rockefeller quote. John D. Rockefeller. Like, I would rather earn 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own efforts. And when you look at the things that Jay has been accused of, you don't keep getting accused of certain things. You don't keep getting, you know, yeah, he robbed me for, Nicki said he robbed him for 100 million, robbed her for about 100 million. I don't know why people do, I get it that it's Jay-Z and Jay-Z's loved, and I love Jay-Z music, but that ain't got nothing to do with him being infallible. Like, he's not infallible. He could do wrong. Is that fair for everybody to agree? The 62% of people say he's evil. 30% say, or 9% say that the people accusing him of this is just bitter. 29% say both. I don't know, man. Said Beyonce isn't safe. I hope she has herself covered. Yeah, I don't know. But every time I see, I don't know. I'm not going to speak on nobody's marriage, man. I don't speak on nobody's marriage, but it is interesting to look at. People have accused Jay of like leveraging his relationship. Like, y'all, I heard 50 actually say this too. 50 was like, that said Jay gonna always be good because he signed that contract. They was like, what contract, 50? He was like, the one with Beyonce. 50 funny, man, but you know, people say he leverages everything in his life. Kevin O'Leary, one of the businessmen from Shark Tank, great businessman, used to work with Steve Jobs as well. He said that some of the most successful people, all they do is just avoid distraction, and they only focus on intention. And everything in their life is built around that. And he calls it signals and noise, right? And he said a lot of people avoid noise, and some people even build their lives. Successful people, they build their lives around like things that just benefit them. If it don't benefit me, I'm not doing it. If it don't benefit the goal, I'm not doing it. And it looks like sometimes outside looking in, it looked like Jay is one of those people that everything has to benefit his life, benefit him for it to be around, which people can, that might be narcissistic. It might be selfish. And it might cause a lot of evil things to happen. I do believe in scriptures. And when the Bible says that the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, I do think when you love money, you are going to do a lot of different types of evil to get it and keep it. And in order for this, kind of brings us to that conversation I was talking about. Like, do you guys believe that you can be a moral billionaire? Like, can you be a billionaire and make billions of dollars and do it morally, ethically, without stepping on people, without hurting people, without somebody losing in the process, without a bunch of people having to be stepped on? Yes or no? Because I think that somebody said DMX exposed Jay-Z too. Yeah, that's a good point. DMX did. You know, said nope, no. And I'm like, full disclosure, I'm rich. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm not rich. But I feel like as much money as I made, I know how much I made, and I know I made a lot. And I sometimes I do sit around and I think, like, what would it take to be a billionaire though? Because if I make this much, and I know how many people I help, and I know how many people, like, I know what it takes. And all it takes for clarity, all it takes is finding somebody that has a large enough problem, a group of people that has a large enough problem, and you have a significant enough solution that you've obsessed over and giving it to them and selling it to them. Hey, I know you got this problem. I have the solution. I sell it for $20. That's it. That's all every product and service is. And if you could find problems for rich people that rich people have, they pay you a little bit more to solve them because they rather have the solution than have the money. Right. And so I know from being successful, but when I look at a billionaire, there's how many billionaires are there in the world? Let's see how many billionaires are in the world compared to the actual population. So in the world, there's 3,028 billionaires. out of 8 billion people. 8 billion people, 3,028 of them are billionaires out of 8 billion. You telling, and some people say, and I see you guys, some mixed reaction, like no, yes, no. I just believe as a millionaire that you can't. It's really probably hard to be a billionaire without stepping on somebody. Somebody had to do some forced labor. Somebody had to, and maybe I'm naive because I haven't touched that. But I feel like somebody has to, you had to steal something from somebody. Somebody's going to say, if you're in the music industry, somebody's going to say he stole my masters. Somebody's going to say he stole this, he stole that. If you're in business in general, they call writing contracts that benefit you and scam other people just doing good business. In fact, Jay-Z's company, Rock Nation, I don't know if you guys are familiar, there's an artist in Oakland or in the Bay Area. His name is La Russell. And he said that he went to a negotiation with Jay. Let me see if I can pull it up as an article. And it was a contract offer that was predatory. Here, I got it right here. It says Rock Nation, the entertainment company founded by Jay-Z, recently faced criticism from La Russell regarding the contract offer. La Russell described the initial offer as predatory, lacking any financial figures, and containing a discretionary fund contingent on specific project deliveries with a 10% cut and a 360 deal. Now, if you don't know what that means, basically, we'll pay you more when you hit these different benchmarks. If we ever let you hit these, it's a kind of a catch-22 because it's like we got to let you hit the benchmarks, but if you do hit them, then we'll pay you more, right? It's contingent upon you hitting those things. And then a 360 deal is basically we get paid for everything that you do for the rest of your life. Drake is essentially in a 360 deal right now. Like he can't post anything. He can't even post. They own name, image, likeness, music, product, anything that you do. You put out some merch, we get a percentage of that. You go on tour, we get a percentage of that. That's what the 360 deal essentially is. Or it was reported that Drake was in a 360 deal before. I don't know if he still is. Said he felt the offer was disrespectful and would not do business with the company that makes such large errors. The initial offer, La Russell stated that Rock Nation presented a contract with no money in it. And he's not a small artist. He got a couple million followers. Got a couple million. He does really well. He does really well independently. La Russell stated that Rock Nation presented a contract with no money, only a $15,000 discretionary fund and 10% cut on his projects. So basically, we're going to give you no money. We're just going to take money from you. We're not going to give you anything. He then characterized the offer as predatory, suggesting that it was an attempt to exploit artists by not disclosing the full financial details up front. La Russell was turned off by the initial offer, and the subsequent quickly corrected the offer, feeling it was a poor reflection on the company's business practices. So basically, when he was like, yo, this is a BS offer. What are y'all talking about? Y'all didn't think I was going to read this contract? And they was like, oh, my bad. We made a mistake. That's not the contract. Hold on. And then they went and got another contract, he said. He emphasized the need for transparency in contracts, and especially when dealing with artists who might not fully understand the intricacies of the business. He felt that the situation highlighted a systemic issue in the industry. He ultimately declined the offer, stating that he wouldn't do business with a company that makes such significant errors. Now, what La Russell said, I believe, was the second deal. So basically, they offered him a $15,000 contract with a discretionary fund. Like, oh yeah, we'll give you $15,000 if you hit this benchmark and you give us 10% of everything that you've ever done in your life, and we own you too. It's a 360 deal. And he was like, this is a BS offer. They came back like, oh, this is not the offer. And then they offered him $750,000. That's a big jump from $15,000 to $750,000. And he said that I don't want to do business with a company that makes $750,000 mistakes. And he walked away. He also brought up the speculation of Jay-Z having an alleged paternity case with this guy, Ramir Satterwhite, a man who's long claimed that the hip-hop mogul is his biological father. There was a screenshot, I guess, that was shared of a headline claiming that a judge recently approved the continuation of the guy's request for Jay-Z to do a paternity test. And Nicki reposted it. And Jay responded to this. And I want to show you guys what Jay had to say about this real quick. Said Jay-Z fires back at the man alleging that he's his secret son amid the new lawsuit. This just actually happened in the last 24 hours. It said for years, a man named Rymir Satterwhite has alleged that he's Jay-Z's illegitimate son. Earlier this year, he filed a lawsuit against the mogul. In it, he alleges that he refused to take a paternity test and has been trying to silence him. He said this isn't the first time he's gone after him legally. However, Jay-Z has had enough. In new court documents, he's asking a federal judge to dismiss the lawsuit. The fabricated allegations and claims have been addressed and rejected in multiple other courts, and continued harassment and disregard of those orders has already resulted in a contempt order. It also calls Satterwhite's lawsuit part of an alleged decade-long harassment campaign against Jay-Z. The rapper alleges that he only learned about this latest lawsuit on June 3rd and has asked the court for more time to prepare an official response. Jay, without additional time to evaluate and prepare his response to the complaint. Allegedly, Jay-Z's attorney contacted the Satterwhite, the guy, his caregiver, to ask for more time to respond, but was hung up on. Satterwhite alleges that his mother, Wanda, had a brief relationship with Jay-Z in the 90s. He says she since passed away and that he's being cared for by his grandmother as a result. Allegedly, she faced unrelenting efforts by Jay-Z and his enablers to suppress the truth and silence those who dared to speak it. Satterwhite also alleges that Hove and his team have committed fraud on various occasions, exploited legal systems in multiple jurisdictions to suppress his paternity claim and prevent legal accountability. He alleges that he suffered emotional distress, anxiety, public embarrassment, and mental health complications as a result. Jay-Z obviously has Beyonce and 3 other kids. I don't know. I don't really care about this. I think if Jay is not taking care of his son, that's Jay business. If that is his son, if it's not his son, then dude is out of pocket. But I'm always y'all know I'm anti-deadbeat. I don't care what you got to go through. Go get your kids, man. Go be around them. If you can't be around them, do everything you can. Put a college fund up for them. Do something. But there's no reason to not do nothing. So I'm always anti-deadbeat. But we don't know. This case is something we got to wait to see how it plays out in court, because Jay, obviously, all he can do is take a paternity test in this situation and just say, that ain't my son. I would just take the test personally, just because the headlines. I don't even need this on my name. I'm gonna just take this test, get this out the way, shut this dude down if it's not true, and move on with my life. I just think that it's just something that why have the headlines? Somebody said, how many people make 200K? Me personally, I know a lot of people that make 200K, but I'm very successful, so my circle is a little different. But I don't think the average person would know a lot of people that make 200K a year. But if you guys follow me, doing really well. So that's a bad question to ask me. Said, did Jay-Z respond? Yeah, that was his response. So, I don't really care about Jay-Z's paternity issues. I just question why he's not allowed to be questioned, and why ain't nobody covering these stories. When these stories come out, why everybody acting like Nicki just crazy, and she's not.